Hey guys, um, do let me know if everything's working, and then we'll start. Microphone working, video working, and then I'll explain why it's me today and not Cred, and what's going on in general. Hello from Prague. Hello back to Prague. I take this as a sign that it's working. So yeah, Cred's on holiday for this entire week, so you're gonna be stuck with me. That means today is me, Wednesday is me, and Friday is gonna be me as well. At the end of today's stream, I think we can talk about what we're gonna do on Friday. But yeah, it's gonna be a week of Donald and chat. I hope you guys don't mind. If you do, I mean, sucks to be you. That's the one thing. Cred's such a cop out, spending his gains so weak. No, the guy deserves a vacation. So that's what he's gonna do. Yeah, the second thing is I'm really sick. So I'm actually like at some point of the stream I might have to abandon you guys. If that happens, I'll just restart later or something. Because I don't know. Maybe I had some bad sushi or something, but it's been bad today, so we'll see what happens. But I'll try my best to entertain, give good quality information. But if I'm suddenly gone, don't be surprised, because yeah, not feeling too well. Hope you get better soon. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, those are the two things. Just before we start, so that you guys know, like this week is Donald week, and if I run away, yeah, that's because I'm sick. Just stream from the toilet. Yeah, I mean that's what we're gonna do if this continues. But yeah, that's the story. Before we start, generally, thanks a lot for Bybit for sponsoring the show. They have like a big trading competition going right now. So if you do want to do something like that, like short-term ish trading with like rewards and stuff, do check them out. The link to that is in the description. It's pretty good way to kind of spend some time, have some fun, I think. Where's Cred's gone for this week, enjoying some beach and some vacation. So he's taking it easy, coming back next week. So yeah, if you don't want to deal with me, come back next week, because this week's all me. Okay. So yeah, a lot has changed since Friday, and we didn't even speak about price. I mean, the last time we spoke about price is almost a week away, so a lot of stuff to talk about. Mainly Bitcoin, really. But yeah, let's get right into it. Monthly close, been pretty good. If you look at, let me put this away. Whoops. Yeah, monthly close, highest monthly close in a while. Not necessarily something I watch, but it's definitely the case that now we have a high here, a high here, but also we have a low here and a lower low here. So for me, this is still sideways. Might be my cope in me speaking, but for me, this is a higher high, and we've had a lower low here. So it's pretty much something like this right now, where you couldn't really say it's an uptrend, you couldn't really say it's a downtrend. It's just something in between. But yeah, we'll see if it makes a higher low now. I mean, that's the beginning of an uptrend, right? So we'll see what happens. But generally speaking, closed above support, closed above resistance, and now we have some support in the 10K area. So as long as the price doesn't close back down there, bulls are safe for now, I think. Yeah, so monthly closes below 10K, something the bulls don't want to see, because then you would have the situation where you have a range that you broke out of and got back into, right? So that's not something that you want to see. So 10K, any close below that, I think, and you get worried as a bull. As long as it's above high time frame wise, you're fine. Very similar situation on the weekly time frame, where we closed back above 10.6, got some rejection towards the end of the week, but nothing too bad. And now we have support in that area. So support in the 10.6 to 9.8 area. Generally speaking, what the bulls, like if you're, let's say you're a bull and you're long and you're looking for an invalidation, right? Because it's always nice, like let's say you're long from here, have an invalidation somewhere in here. I mean, I don't really have anything nice, but if you had, right, makes sense to kind of revisit that and see what's up now. And what's up now is that we've broke through resistance and now turned it into support, right? And the same as in the monthly, you don't want to see it closes back below that resistance, because then we would be getting back into the range, right? So 10.6 on a closing basis has to hold, in my opinion. Anything below would start to look bad, and I think the moment it starts going back below 9.7, 9.8, and looks really bad. Until then, I mean, bulls are winning, and until then, I'm coping, right? That's how it is. So that's kind of how I look at the market from a high time frame perspective right now. A lot of people have been asking me, yeah, dude, why are you like not super long? Reason being, like, first of all, if I really want to get long, I'd look for longs like very close to invalidation, which would be 10.6-ish to like 10, like we talked about on the monthly. And two, I'm just not in the mood to long for whatever reason. So, I mean, I'm just chilling, but I mean, this is the analysis that I can give based on the chart, right? So you can do with that whatever you want. But yeah, well, I'm starting to say, okay, be careful this if we start closing back below 10.6. So far, no sign of that. So we'll see what happens, right? Any thoughts on 9.7 gap? Yeah, so there's a CME gap, right? And do excuse me, like, Jesus Christ, my brain isn't working today. Where is it? Oh, I usually don't do this. Can you even look for it like this? Yeah, can someone send me a ticker? I'm like beyond out of it today. But yeah, that's a CME gap. I usually do it on Discord, so that's easier for me. But there's a CME gap around like 9.7. CME 1, yeah, I need it. BTC 1, okay. That makes sense. This one, yeah. So this is something people like to trade, right? And I mean, something that I was watching short-term time frame is these gaps in the chart, right? Whether you like them or not, they've been kind of like, whenever you've had a gap, they've been closing, right? So what does that mean? You have a gap in here where the CME is trading, and Bitcoin does something on the weekend, and then you have an open gap, and that gap gets filled really quick. And then, I mean, something that pretty much has been happening for Bitcoin for quite a while, where you have gaps that open up and then they fill. And yeah, generally speaking, doesn't really happen often that they don't fill. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but it's something to keep in mind, and this is one of the ones that people are watching, right? So this one was the one from this weekend, and that filled already. Now you have another one here. So a lot of people are talking about like, is this gonna get filled? I mean, I could see it, but then again, like going down that low would already be worrisome for bulls, because like when you look at this chart, like what would have to happen to fill that, right? Would have to, like, let's say if it did whatever, if it did something like this and then filled it in, that would look like a bar on top of sideways, and that would look like, would start to look really bad. So I think like the bulls really don't want this gap to fill, because it's a little bit too low for comfort. Like anything in here or something would be fine, but like down here is a little bit low. But we'll see. So, but yeah, this is something a lot of people look at. So I mean, it makes sense to look at it. Reason why, like when I looked at the lower time frames, the reason why I didn't want to like short anything in the last few hours was because there was this gap that for some reason likes to meme fill in, and then you're fucked if you're short from somewhere low, because yeah, excuse like that explanation, but it is what it is. It's like super confusing, makes no sense for Bitcoin. Like there's not too much volume in this, but I mean, it's a meme, right? And memes are super powerful in this market. Just look at Link. So I think a lot of people are looking at the same thing and seeing, oh, gap fills tend to work, and then they trade that direction, and then they do work. So yeah, that's like the high time frames we talked about. Something that is really interesting to me that I saw yesterday. Another reason why I didn't want to short today was because we closed that support. Whenever you see something like that, and this is something you can actually trade off of if you want some kind of confluence. So we had over the weekend, we've had this CME gap, right? So there's a gap. Bitcoin traded lower on the weekend. CME didn't because it wasn't open. And then you close at support. That opens up the door to fill the CME gap and bounce from support, right? So sometimes that CME stuff can be useful to kind of find confluence. This is one of the cases where we bounced pretty nicely, like had a nice close at support and then bounced nicely from it. So, but on the daily time frame, there's not much to talk about. I think, generally speaking, you really don't want to see a close below this support, right? This kind of pullback that we've had is pretty much just ended at the perfect point, and you really don't want to see another low, because then this turns into resistance, and you're really, really close to the old range in here. And then it's very likely to visit the old range, and then that would start looking bad, right? So, I mean, if you're bullish, yesterday was kind of the day to buy a pullback. I think if you don't, like, if you shouldn't be getting another chance to buy the lows, I think, if it's truly bullish. But I mean, it's a daily chart. Sometimes it does some crazy stuff and still goes up, right? But for me, like, what the bulls really want to see is at least something go sideways here and then go further up. And if it starts meandering below the support, I think that's where the high time frame stuff starts to look bad as well, right? So if you start going lower than 10.6 on the weekly, this starts to look really bad, and then yeah. So this is the stuff to watch, I think. The daily chart's actually really nice because it's close invalidation, and the moment it starts closing back below here, it makes sense to look for, I think, for shorts, and you can kind of base your invalidation off of this move and then target lower. But so far closed at support and moved up, so nothing to worry about just yet. Just something to keep in mind. You don't want to see like when you're trading intraday or something, you don't want to see the high time frame closes anywhere close to like 11 anymore. And then people are asking about resistances, right? And they're looking at this. The reason why I don't have this on my personal chart, and I don't think it's a bad one, but the reason why I don't have this on my personal chart is that one, you've already had two perfect closes at the level, right? And the second one pretty much did what it was supposed to. It moved back down. But do you really expect, I mean, it was the top here on a wick basis, right? Which, I mean, makes sense because it's resistance. But do you really think like that we start closing back at this level and then don't go high? Because then, it's pretty much the same exact story as here, right? Where you have test of resistance again, and then here again, and then you break out, right? And it would pretty much be the same thing where you have like a close at resistance, another close at resistance, a test of this resistance, and then if it starts closing back up there, it's the third one, so you could get a pullback, but eventually I would expect it to break. So I mean, it's resistance, yes, but I don't really have it like marked out as too important, because really it makes more sense to kind of look for the invalidation on this side, I think. So in the sense of, okay, we're trading below 10.9 to like 11 on the daily chart, starting to head lower. That makes more sense to me than to just try to fish for the top right now. But I mean, it's a resistance, so you can have it on your chart. I don't mind. Like, it's pretty much like range low here, range high here. So you can play that. And this is the midpoint of the range. Play it however you like. I don't have it on the chart because I think this is much more interesting. Like, if you start closing back below here, I think it's starting to get dangerous. And then there's a trade there. And at 12.5, it's less of a trade, I think. Okay, let me quickly read the chat. And sorry for today being a little bit slower. Like I said, I mean, before this started, I was like, what do I do if I need to get up and run to the toilet to puke? And it was like, dude, do you really want to stream? It's getting a little bit better. Like, I slept pretty much exactly like until like half an hour before the stream, so it's getting a little bit better, but still feeling completely out of it. Are we in an altcoin rally already? I mean, when altcoins are going up, yes. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm not sure what you mean with an altcoin rally, right? If you're saying old season, I mean, I would disagree with that, because really, like, when you're looking at the altcoins, like at the normal altcoins, this isn't really how an old season is supposed to look, right? When you go through these, this isn't really how an old season is supposed to look. But then when you look at some others, some like DeFi names and some everything pretty much has anything to do with ETH, it's a bit of a different story, right? That doesn't look too bad, this chart. So yeah, I mean, it's an altcoin rally in the sense that it's been going up. It's not really big moves. Like, it feels like a big move, right? But 30%, really nothing in the grand scheme of things. So do I expect anything like this? No, not at all. But I could be wrong, right? So alt rally, I mean, I could see it. We're starting to get close to resistance on ETH now. I don't even know where this is based on. I think like the 3-day maybe. It's an interesting resistance line. Weird start of it. We actually, like, this is a better one, I think. I don't know why I have it like, maybe I based it around here. Whatever, like, it's pretty much like it's in resistance area here. That's why why I like to use areas, because really, like, you look at that line, you're like, holy shit, that's such a badly drawn line. And then you pull it down here and you're like, I don't like it here either. It's something in between, right? Something in between. So it's a resistance area that we're finally reaching. And that's going to be interesting. Like, if it starts breaking out there, there's some upside to be had. So yes, altcoin rally, yes. Old season, I don't think so. But I mean, you don't always have to chase the altcoin season. You can chase like these kind of moves already. If you do it right, you can always be on vacation. I mean, that was the plan for this year for me, but then Corona came around, right? Like, I've had 12 trips planned this year, and I got to do 2, and then Corona hit. I can see the monthly support get tested, like at like 10 and as a wick, and still go up, and it still go up. Someone asked that in the chat, and yes, I agree. So you could easily get a wick down at like to 10k and then immediately get bought back up. That would be totally fine. You just don't want to see any close, like any. You would want to see that happen in the middle of the day, pretty much, and then the weekly, the daily, and everything just close back above. So like a wick to like 10k. I mean, that would look gnarly on the daily, I think. Like if it wicked down here, but then if it started closing back up here, that'd be fine. But that is already starting to get into unrealistic, into an unrealistic area, because the daily is giving you such a nice invalidation with this. It's not as clear as the weekly and the monthly. So I think like if it starts closing below like 10.9, there's still a chance that it goes up. It's low, I think. But I think there's still a chance. But yeah, so you don't want to see, like, I really don't want to see as a bull, like if I were a bull, I really wouldn't want to see this support get lost. There is a world in which that support gets lost and we kind of hold support at 10.6, but I wouldn't trust it too much, right? So could lose this, head down here, and then retest this, go back down, and then smash through. That would still be bullish. But then again, like, that isn't too, like, if you're shorting the break of that, you're not really too much in trouble, because really, after this retest, you shouldn't start going back up. Like, if that happens, you have your invalidation as a bear, so you're not really too much in trouble. So yeah, I think like a break of 11k on a closing basis, or like 10.9 on a closing basis, is something of a signal for bears to start sticking the neck out. But then again, we're good bit away from that, so we'll see. Just don't think about that and you'll be okay. Yeah, I mean, the saddest part was like my Japan trip. Like, I had a 1 month trip to Japan, booked with a good friend of mine, like someone that I met or like talked to back in the day almost daily, like about crypto and stuff. Haven't met him yet. A really good friend though, and we had like a cool trip planned. Or like he's in Japan, and I had a really cool trip planned with like really good hotels, really good food, everything. That one's really bumming me out, but it is what it is, right? Next year I'll just do the same, or like hope that it works next year. Would start to get really annoying if this Corona situation keeps on going. It's actually something to watch out. Like, I traded the Corona situation back when we crashed, right? Like this, I was looking at it. I was like, okay, this is still like far from over when we're here. It's one of the reasons why I kept my shorts, right? Or like my hedges anyway. I was fully hedged for like pretty much this entire leg down. The reason why I kept it was the Corona situation, and it's now starting to flare back up all over the world. So we'll see if it gets any worse. I could see like a traditional market kind of pullback. happen again. Not quite as much panic as the first time around, but we'll see. So I would keep an eye on that. Like I'm keeping an eye on that. Just saying that might be interesting to you guys as well. Pandemics is forever. I mean, I could see it, dude. I could see it. Where is cred? Oh man, and am I boring you guys already? I'm sorry. I can't be as British as the cred gentleman. He's on vacation. So yeah, it's gonna be me today, me Wednesday, me Friday. But yeah, that's Bitcoin. I think it's pretty clear. It's a really nice situation to be in, like trading this kind of stuff. Like it makes trading easy when you have like such clear invalidations. Like if you're bullish, you know exactly what you don't want to see. That's almost more valuable than seeing what you want to see, right? Like if you're like in a trade and you know exactly, okay, this is exactly what I don't want to see, then it's really easy to pull the plug before your stop loss gets triggered, right? Let's say you long the support down here, right? Like the 11K area, and then it starts closing at like 10.8 down here. You're like, okay, I just lost like $100 or $200 of a move, like a tiny percentage. My stop loss was originally like down here somewhere. I'm fine with taking that like tiny loss, getting out, seeing what happens now. That is really, really valuable, I think, and it's really nice to kind of have this clear cut situation where you don't want to see high time frame closes below these areas, and then low time frame, same deal. I prefer you over cred, and then cred comes in. Nah, you fucked up, bro. You fucked up. That was your one chance to have like cred on your good side, and you fucked it up. Nah, like personal preference, right? Some people like watching me. Some people hate watching me. It's completely fine, and I mean, just how the world works, right? Freddy is banned. Poor Freddy. But yeah, that's Bitcoin. ETH's interesting because really like we smashed through the monthly level. And I said like if we close anywhere above like that 270 to 90 area, we're gonna go straight to 390. And I mean that's pretty much what happened. The problem with these kind of things is it happens in one candle, right? So smashes through resistance and then just head straight for the next one. I think this one is actually really, really strong resistance. I'd be very surprised if that gave away on the first test. But the market's kind of crazy right now, so wouldn't be out of the ordinary. And the interesting part about this is, like, if this rejects, where does it go, right? Because this is support, but like you wouldn't want to see this get retested immediately. Because really like that would start to kind of make this look pretty bad. Would still be fine, but you really don't want to see it close below 270. So if you start getting closes below 270, that's bad news. Until then, I mean, you're pretty much good to go. If you're long Ethereum, you're long right into resistance. But I mean, that's not necessarily the worst thing. Like if you're expecting a bull market, right? And we can talk about this real quick, like about expectations and stuff. Level to level trading is fine, right? If you're trading level to level all the time, it works completely fine. But like the smash hits that you're gonna get are the ones where you're holding into resistance, like you bought the bottom of a range and you're holding into resistance and then looking for higher, right? So, but that depends on your opinion of the market, right? Sometimes you're just like, okay, this range is cooked. I think it's heading much higher. I mean, I didn't think this would break out like this. It did. But like if you're a mega bull, expected this. Sometimes it pays off to just hold into resistance. This could be one of the times. I mean, for me, this in general doesn't look strong enough to warrant it on a high time frame basis, but it doesn't look bad, really. Like this isn't really necessarily a bad chart. You have a low, high, so higher, high. So, I mean, this isn't bad. It's just It's just resistance, right? So sometimes it pays off to hold into resistance. This could be one of the times. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I'd be surprised if we smashed it on the first go, but we could see something like a pullback, like a tiny pullback here, and then head higher. I just don't know. Like, these, really hard to analyze if this resistance is going to do something. I think it will, just based on the fact that there's not really many support resistance flips on the monthly, and this is pretty much the only one that is actually applicable. So something to watch. But the lower time frames, pretty clear cut. You had this close above resistance and then took straight off. Also running into resistance here, right? This is the resistance that we're battling with right now. So yeah, you can watch it on the monthly, you can watch it on the weekly. These are kind of like the areas to look at, and this would be support. Could even like if it starts wicking, it could even easily wick into this area down here. But then again, like, this market's just been straight up, so it could just continue that way. We'll have to wait and see, right? Long resistance, short support. Sometimes that's not the worst idea, dude. Like, back in 2017, and I mean, that might be, like, I might sound like the biggest idiot, but that was pretty much exclusively what I did. So, because, what you gotta realize, right? When the market turns really, really bullish, you wanna be maximizing what you're getting out of it, right? So in 2017, you had this altcoin, like, let's say Ethereum, for example, coil up, right? In here, for example, you've had Ethereum coil up and fall out of that ascending triangle. A lot of people flip bearish, right? And then it just challenged that resistance again. In this case, if you're longing resistance, you're going to be proven right or wrong really, really quickly. So you put your money into something, and you're not going to have to wait long to see if you're right or if you're wrong. And in a raging bull market, that's really, really valuable, because your money not being sidelined is really valuable, right? So in this case, you had everything going up. Bitcoin went up. Other altcoins went up, and then this into resistance, like longing this exact resistance, was the better play over like longing the low down here. Just because if you had your money in another altcoin or in anything else like Bitcoin, whatever, you actually made more if you just did something else with your money. So sometimes when the market turns really, really bullish, it's actually nice to long into resistance. I mean, people are going to make fun of me for saying that, but yeah, there's something to, like, there's something good about like knowing exactly, okay, this is where I'm going to be wrong or right, or I'm going to be right or wrong in like a day or two, and I know exactly what it is, because I mean, if you're wrong, you can get out immediately, and if you're right, I mean, you're just immediately right, and you're not stuck in a position for too long. So there's always facets to this stuff, and I mean, trading is complicated, right? People are saying, okay, just follow these simple rules and you'll make it. It's not how it works. But yeah. You said it, don't long that resistance. I think the market's not bullish enough to do that for now, but I could be completely wrong. I mean, I've been wrong on this. The only time I've been right on this ETH move was literally at the bottom, and I said this is a long. But I myself didn't get it because I was streaming at the time like an idiot, and that was pretty much the last time I've been really right on this ETH move. I've been hands off for most of this. I mean, I played this, and I played this on the downside and this on the downside. Some of this anyway, it's not the top, but somewhere in there. And this part, yeah, this entire rally. It's just crazy. Sometimes you just don't catch them, and that's fine. It's what I tell myself so I can sleep at night. But yeah. So yeah, that's ETH. ETH BTC at resistance, ETH USD at resistance, Bitcoin bouncing from support. It's actually something really interesting to watch because, yeah, you have this very clean cut. There's actually something that I haven't even realized before the stream, that we're at ETH BTC resistance as well. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see if I'm doing something with that or not. So is this a bull market or not? That's an interesting question, bro. So you look at the traditional markets, right? And actually just going completely crazy. I still think this is resistance, this entire area here. We'll see what happens. I'd be surprised if we started closing back above this resistance. But then again, like, this is completely nuts, right? You have an insane move into like coronavirus news, whatever. This is, for me, like, I mean, this is a mixture of like squeeze and a bunch of other shit, right? But it doesn't really, like, I mean, this hasn't really made much sense for a long time, but this is kind of getting ridiculous. But you could say, okay, this is just the new paradigm, right? Stuff just keeps on going and going and going up. And I mean, that could be the case. And if that's the case for the SPX, that's going to be the case for Bitcoin, right? If you're like, okay, this is a new paradigm, everything just keeps going up. I mean, this could be a bull market. For me, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a bear market based on the fact that we just made a higher high, right? This is a higher high. The thing that I really don't want to see, and it's the only thing that I can say with like certainty, is that you really don't want to trade back below 10.6. This area has to hold as support. If it doesn't, you have a range, break above the range, sideways, break back in the range. And that's on the opposite side. Like, whenever that happens, on the downside, it's very obvious what you're gonna do, right? This is a long, and I was like, I've taken millions of these kind of longs, right? So if that happens, I mean, you gotta be quick, because that's gonna go quick. Like, if it, for some reason, we get back into this range, I think we go back very low. Does that mean it's gonna happen? No, right? I could be completely delusional, and I mean, we dip into here and then kind of bounce again, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, I think that's very unlikely. So, I mean, in this case, you have a really clean cut invalidation, and I mean, if you want to be like super cautious, like waiting for this weekly, I think makes sense. Starting to close back below 9.7, and it's not a bull market anymore, I think. As long as 9.7 holds, take it as a bull market and trade it that way if you want to. Do you think ETH has been leading the entire move? I think it's been like a ping pong, right? Bitcoin goes up, ETH squeezes up Bitcoin, like people buy Bitcoin to kind of chase the leading the following pair, and then Bitcoin squeezes up, and Bitcoin goes up too fast, ETH BTC takes a dip, and then people see ETH BTC take a dip, Bitcoin takes a dip, and then Bitcoin gets support back up, because like these apes that sold just because ETH went down get squeezed out, and then ETH BTC, same thing. Like that kind of stuff, it just plays off of each other, right? And we've had that multiple times in the past. It's kind of interesting because ETH and Bitcoin have just been in a league of their own. Bitcoin does well, ETH USD kind of does well, and ETH BTC has been doing well while Bitcoin does well. It's not necessarily been the case for most other altcoins. So, I mean, if you're looking at, for example, BAT, right? And I don't know what exactly. Oh, yeah, that was the scam Scala that we made with Bitcoin and BitConnect and other stuff in between. But yeah, if you look at BAT, not a bad altcoin, right? I don't necessarily hate BAT, but Bitcoin's been moving 2 weeks up. I could bet that BAT isn't even up against USD, or not much anyway. Yeah, so BAT been sideways for 40 days. Bitcoin is up in the last 40 days by how much? 25%. So, I mean, it's not necessarily the case for all of these altcoins. And I mean, this is the case for pretty much like all the non-ETH traded altcoins that just didn't go up in USD. So, Bitcoin went up, these split the exact same value. It's pretty much the same thing for all of these. So yeah, ETH's in a little bit of a special situation where it actually went up with Bitcoin, shows some serious strength. We'll see if it continues. But yeah, it's been a back and forth. How low is the probability you see consistent alt pumps in the next month for you? I mean, it depends on what altcoins you're looking at, right? I think it's the old season that everyone dreams about, where everything goes up. I think is a pipe dream right now. Like I would not expect that to happen, for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is if you expect it to happen, you get like the worst looking chart just because you think everything's gonna go up. You're probably gonna underperform pretty much everyone else that's actually looking at the market critically, right? So just expecting old season, it's probably gonna make you trade less well. So I'm just saying, be careful, right? But if you're finding the pairs that actually look decent, right? For example, XRP. I mean, I've been talking about XRP for a while, saying that, I mean, that's gonna do well somewhere in this range. I was hoping it was gonna go like down here. It didn't. But like when you see a chart like this, there's potential to the upside, right? Because what you're seeing there is a range and then a range reclaim. This has potential to the upside. And then you look at EOS, for example, that for some reason a lot of people are really into. I mean, it's just, it's really ugly. I mean, there's nothing really there for me. This might go up if everything goes, like if some stuff goes up, but it's never, I think, gonna outperform XRP. I'd be very surprised if the altcoin market went up in general and EOS outperformed XRP. I just don't think it's gonna happen. The same with TRX, right? Why be long this? It doesn't really look good if you can be long XRP, right? You look at the market, you see the good setups, and then trade the good setups. Like in this case, it's a decent setup. You can take the long, and that's fine. In the case of EOS, where would you even put your invalidation, right? It's just all over the place. So for me, you shouldn't be expecting old season. You should just play the good looking setups. And the good looking setups right now, I think is XRP, one of the ones. I mean, ETH starting to hit resistance, so we're going to see how that plays out. ETH BTC. I've been saying, yeah, this doesn't look too bad for a long while. This is actually where ETH BTC is starting to hit resistance, so we'll see about like how this is going to play out. Litecoin, I mean, not a big fan so far. It's looking better than a lot of the other ones. Bitcoin Cash, looking pretty miserable as well. But yeah, if you see like good setups, like the XRP one, that's fine to play. The bad looking setups, like if you look at Raven, for example, and there's a reason why this looks so shitty. We've talked about this. But if you're like, oh, this is just gonna catch up, I mean, maybe, right? But I think it's very unlikely. And I think the same is true for like a lot of these, the ones that are looking bad. Like you look at ETC, for example. If you're like, okay, this is just gonna catch up, I think you're gonna be sitting there being disappointed. But if you're playing the ones that are actually looking decent, I think you might be lucky. At least there's a chance to be lucky, I think, if you're playing the good setup. So my advice: don't look for the old season and just blindly buy into whatever coin you like. Just look at the setups and then just play the setups. Is it a good time to long XRP? I mean, right now, let me see. I mean, this was a decent, like this was where it reclaimed the range, right? So now we're pretty much in the same situation as ETH, where it's hitting the range high. I think like if you get a pullback, it's not necessarily a bad trade, honestly. Like I don't really see oops, sorry. I don't really see the reason why people hate XRP so much. It's pretty much the same as every other altcoin. And you just know like there's some money behind it, you can pump it. So yeah, if you get a pullback, I don't think it's a bad time to necessarily get it. It could be completely wrong, and I mean, there's gonna be an interesting weekly close this week. But this is one of the ones where you're like, okay, this is in bull territory. The moment it starts losing this support again, start rethinking your position. But I think there's a good likelihood that we go up here for XRP. I mean, there's a reason why I've titled this home and I've been targeting this for a million years, because it's really good support. What's the logic behind the color coding in your list? This is Bitcoin red. I just need some like different, like I look at different exchanges and stuff. It's sometimes nice to have different charts also that you can just click on. These are the majors that I can trade with bigger size if I want to. Like those used to be like nowadays there's some more, but those used to be the highly liquid ones, and those are the ones that I'm really familiar with. Besides maybe BNB, but I mean, this could actually be a different color, but it's a significant coin anyway. So those are the significant coins. Those are the smaller coins that I don't mind. So for example, Tether, we were like somewhere in this range, and I was like, okay, it's holding the range. It hasn't made like big lows in the entire bear market. This doesn't look so bad. So I put it into my, okay, I like these coins, right, list. So that's blue. Like those are the ones that I like based on the chart. BAT, one of them. Dogecoin, one of them. Just based on the fact that I like trading Dogecoin in general. Like these are the altcoins that are smaller that I like to trade and that I don't think have like long-term bad charts. Something of a mix of both. These are the ones that I want to keep a close eye on, just based on the fact that I'm interested. So for example, BQX, I still have, like I put, I think like way back, I put like 1K into the ICO or something, and it won, I think 1000x, something like that, like stupid amount, like more than 100x, went 100x up, and I fucked it up and sent it to a wrong address. So I kind of fucked this entire thing, lost like more than 6 figures on that. But ever since then, I've just been interested in what the chart does, because I was like so tilted back at the highs because I fucked that up. So like those are the ones that I want to just keep in mind. Sometimes the chart interests me, and then I have some even more like ones that I follow closer in this. So there's nothing really scientific about it, just like, okay, am I familiar with the chart? Do I know how to trade them and that kind of stuff? But yeah, this was fucked up. So yeah, send more than 6 figures of this shit to a wrong address. Gone. So yeah. Sometimes life is suffering. I was suffering for this for a long time. This fucked me up so bad. It's the reason why like nowadays I send a tiny amount first, wait till it arrives, and then send the bigger amount, and double check and triple check everything. And I even double and triple check this. I just completely fucked it up. Be your own bank is a pain in the ass. Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, I've been handling this shit for years and years and years, right? And I still do, like, that stuff can still happen to me. So, I mean, there's a reason why, like, being your own bank isn't really attractive to most people. I think, like, most people, this could happen to most people. So, yeah. And it's kind of funny, like, it's just pretty like back in the day, like I mean in general, like that's not a small amount of money, right? But it can just be gone with like just like that, just instantly vanished. So yeah, gotta be careful when you send your shit around. So yeah, what about gold? Gold's interesting. I mean, gold. I've been mega bullish gold. This is still funny. I've been mega bullish gold. I just can't bring myself to delete this shit. I've been mega bullish gold ever since here, right? Well, like I was mega bullish from here till here. I was like, this is resistance, gonna be interesting how it closes. And now, like we're at all-time high. I think I talked about this last week or the week before that I wouldn't necessarily want to short it, even though like it's approaching. I don't know if it was this resistance that it was approaching or this one. But yeah, in these cases, whenever it's so close to all-time high, you don't want to short it, right? So I mean, where do you short along this? Like if you're looking for trades, and in my opinion, you just don't. Like if you're in a trade long, like if you're in a long trade for gold, or like in spot longs on gold, whatever, you just keep it, I think. It makes sense, like looking at this chart, I don't really, like Loomdot's been saying sell your gold and shit. And I mean, Loomdot's really fucking, he's a 10,000 IQ individual. But for me, I'm not. So whenever like I look at charts like this, I'm just like, okay, this could go much higher. It's probably wrong and it's going lower the moment it starts losing 1.5. And you might say, okay, Don, but I'm gonna lose like half of the rally that I took. Like if you bought down here, right? I'm gonna lose like half of the profits. And in my opinion, that's worth it, right? If this just keeps going, you're gonna be really, really sad. If you're just selling into all-time highs, for me, like you can, like the further up this goes, you can take like profits into the rally. But other than that, I would just like keep a long position, like a core long position, see how it goes. I don't really see a reason to sell this just yet. Might be the top because I'm saying that, but like looking at the chart, it doesn't really make much sense for me to be like mega bearish on it. And that changes the moment we start trading below this. And then, I mean, you could argue like, okay, it shouldn't trade below here or whatever. But I think that's just, it could easily trade down there and still be fine. Kind of looks like Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin looks more like this, really. Like this part. Like the eternal sideways part. I think Bitcoin looks something like this. And I've been saying this, like I could see Bitcoin go sideways for a long, long time. One of the reasons is that it just looks very similar to gold. But yeah. So, I mean, when you look at Bitcoin, right, you can say this is above 10K. Above 10, and this is below 6, right? And then you look at the chart side by side. And then you have this shakeout, whatever. You have this sideways here, shakeout here, sideways here. And then maybe this is, you're talking about this is this. Could be, right? But could also be just sideways like this. Whatever, I don't know. But yeah, it's eternal sideways. This is eternal sideways. At some point it's gonna break, right? And we'll see how it goes, right? Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the moment where it breaks out. And I mean, I could see it honestly, like given how the world is kind of turning right now, I could see like stuff like gold and Bitcoin take off. Yeah. But I could also just see it not go up. Because really, like if you're worried about making rent and that kind of shit, you don't really want to buy like any random cryptocurrencies. But if you're worried about where to put your money, you might, right? So that's why I'm just looking at the charts. And like I said, 10.6 close below, and makes sense to be bearish until then. Play it to the upside like you want. Silver, Jesus, I don't think a lot of people really care. If a lot of people comment silver, like if I get like 10 comments or 15 comments of silver, then I'll look at it real quick. Otherwise, I'll just go over some of, like in the last 10 minutes, some of the other ones, the crypto ones. We talked about ETH, we talked about Bitcoin, we talked about these majors like EOS, for example. I mean, Jesus, a lot of people are talking about silver. Okay, you win. It's not my fault. For the people that don't really care about traditional market, it's not my fault. Flame chat. So high time frame wise, could be starting to break out, right? So would you, like, if you're long position for silver, right? Still think this is resistance, this entire thing here. Pretty much here. You have a huge block of resistance. I mean, if you want to compare it to gold, right? Because I mean, it makes sense to compare it to. And like I said, I've said this a million times, but this isn't really my market to trade, right? So take it with a grain of salt. But what gold did, like this is, can I make this? I'll make this the monthly too. So you have this situation here where you have this high that breaks down, same deal here, right? And then silver went even lower than gold did, went sideways, and is now retesting here, this breakout point or breakdown point, which is here. So silver, like gold, pulled back from there. So I'd expect silver to do the same. Then like it doesn't have to, right? But I would expect it to like go like maybe here, like to 20 or whatever, 22 based on TA, and then maybe higher. But I'd expect a pullback here just based on the fact that it's pretty much 1-to-1 gold, just delayed. Yeah, you can play it the same way that like gold, right? If this starts breaking up here, retests it, I mean, do play it to up here or maybe even up here. I'm not as certain. Like this looks like a good chart. This looks like a fucked up chart. So if I had to make a choice, I'd much rather have gold in general than silver. But I mean, sometimes it pays off to play the laggard, and in this case it did, right? I mean, this is a huge fucking move in the last few weeks where you've had a 77% move in 180 days, and then you look at gold, smaller move obviously, but yeah, and this took way longer. But yeah, if I had to make a choice, this looks like a better chart to me. But generally speaking, I mean, it's not looking too terrible. But yeah, I would expect a pullback here. And if it starts breaking out, play it the same way gold did. Lean hogs, Jesus! Now you're getting all over the place. I went long silver yesterday at the open. I mean, good luck, dude. You're longing into resistance, but then again, like it's monthly resistance, so you might be good for a while. But I wouldn't want to be longing this, honestly. Lean hogs. Okay, now we're memeing. Okay, for everyone. That is normal in the chat, I'm sorry. Or like that is watching that isn't in the chat because chat is... Oh, what's the best lean hog chart? Because I know this isn't the one. Where's real money now with all the DeFi stuff? I don't think... I think the DeFi stuff is just pretty much splashing back and forth, right? So, I mean... That's where the movement is, not necessarily where the big money is. The big money really is moving around in ETH, I think. Like ETHs. Like, it's not necessarily DeFi, it's just ETH in general. And obviously Bitcoin. So ETH and Bitcoin are special right now. So that's where I think the money is. Yeah, people want lean hooks, but I need a good lean hook chart because I know this isn't the one. Oh, Loomdot always gave me the best one. I have no idea. I was just leaving it. I mean, then, Jesus, what the fuck's still happening with lean hawks? I know lean hawks went up a shitload. Like at least the chart that Loomdot was following. So I don't think this is it. But this looks disgusting. Holy shit. But yeah, we don't need to talk about this stuff. So yeah, we talked about a shitload, Bitcoin and ETH mainly. It kind of sucks for the people that have been in ordinary coins, right? Like, because everyone's talking about like all season, and then you're stuck in other, and you're plus minus 0 against Bitcoin, if that. And I think that is going to continue if you're in like an obscure altcoin that doesn't have any news, that doesn't follow the hype right now. I think you're screwed, right? I mean, the only thing that you can hope for is alt season to save you out of these positions, right? But there's always a shit choice. So for me, if the chart doesn't look good, if there's not the narrative around it, stay away, is what I think. Link, someone asked for Link, and Link is an actually interesting chart because it's actually at resistance, and I could see it top out here. A lot of people are talking about this stupid situation with whatever capital, Zeus Capital, that shorted Link, right? But it's really interesting because what happened with Link is it went up really, really hard, and then it started breaking supports really badly, right? So in this case, those are the two daily supports that I'm looking at, and it broke this daily support but reclaimed it. But really, this isn't something that you necessarily want to see, right? Like, support breaks can indicate weakness in general, just because like you're starting to kind of tire out the dip bias, right? Doesn't necessarily have to mean anything that we broke down here, but I'd be careful around this support, this resistance, because we broke below the support, reclaimed it based on like stupid, okay, let's squeeze out Zeus Capital, whatever. But I'd be careful around here. Like, this is big resistance. If it starts closing back above there, I mean, go ahead, take another leg. But until it does, I'd be very, very careful here. And then if it starts coming back into this support and holds it, I mean, then maybe play the leg up. That's possible. But if it doesn't hold here, it might be time to rethink Link, I think. But we'll see. Overall, still looking bullish, right? So you have the weekly time frame chart. This isn't necessarily something that you should be too scared about, but it always pays off to kind of follow the low time frames to at least get like a view of, okay, could this market be turning? On the weekly, it doesn't look like it, but on the daily, I'd be starting to get, like, if you're degening long, I think anything past this resistance is kind of a tall ask. But yeah, if it reclaims that resistance, I mean, sure, go ahead. Like I said, the weekly doesn't look too terrible. But if it starts like breaking down here, gets back, I mean, this is a little bit aggressive, right? But whoops. If it starts breaking down here and then meanders downwards, right, gets back into this trading range, I think that could be the top for a while. Doesn't mean it has to happen, but like I said, I'd be watching this if I was in any significant Link position. I'm not gonna post about Link on Twitter. People are gonna fucking kill you if you bearish a Link. Really, like, you get like a times million move up. It's not quite that. It's like a times 5 or something. Like from anywhere reasonable. Like let's say you've longed it from here, yeah, it's times 5. From the bottom, it's like a times million, 5.5k%. So I mean, at some point, it makes sense to kind of take profits, and there's an obvious cap to how high this is able to go. Like no altcoin is gonna go above Bitcoin market cap for long, and no altcoin is gonna go above Ethereum market cap for long, in my opinion, anyway. So I mean, that's where you can kind of guess where the max potential is, and I think the max potential is for Link, at least at some point, getting close, right? So starting to, yeah, I'd start to at least think about where to take profit or what to do if it starts crashing down. Doesn't mean it has to happen, and like I said, if it reclaims this support, play it until it loses it again, fine by me. But yeah, don't forget, like, these crypto coins, even if it's like your favorite crypto coin, they can go down like 50, 60, 70%. And we've seen altcoins, I mean, I've seen that in 2017, like the early altcoins that went up a shitload of percentage, while the other ones didn't do much. And then these went down while the other ones had an old season, right? So, I mean, could be that you're getting like big moves on the other altcoins and Link just can't keep up. Who knows? But yeah, I'd be starting to be careful at this resistance anyway. But yeah, it's kind of ridiculous with this use capital stuff. That could squeeze just like quite a bit, but in general, I'd be careful. Like there's a reason, there's a reason why these use capital guys are getting so aggressively attacked, because there's a lot of people in this, and the more people that get in an altcoin, the higher the risk of just turning into a back holder. So at some point, you're gonna have to take some profit, I think. I mean, if you're a Link Marine, ride or die, right? At least take like, I mean, if you're in from the lows or whatever, at least take like 20, 30, 40% at some point, and then set yourself an invalidation where you get rid of more. And the best advice that I can give for altcoin trading in general, and it's the reason why, unlike a lot of my peers in this market, I've not been blown out during like the bear market, is that whenever I trade altcoins, I don't reinvest like aggressively like the profits from altcoins back into altcoins and then snowball it all the time. Like at some point, you're gonna have to take profits and keep it out, because otherwise you just risk losing too much. So for example, like let's say you put 10 into an altcoin, you turn it into 100, right? That's nice and good. And you put 100 and put it in another altcoin and you turn it into 1,000, right? And if you keep on doing that, I mean, yes, you can make a shitload of money, but at some point you're gonna put it into an altcoin that goes down 90%, right? And if you don't have any kind of invalidation, any kind of like take profit, it's gonna feel worse and worse to sell it, and then you're just gonna play the same game just in reverse. And then, I mean, that just sucks, right? So what you can do in this case, you turn 10 into 100 and then you take like 20 out and just do something else with it, like put it into Bitcoin if you're long-term bullish Bitcoin or whatever. And then you turn the 80 into 800. And I mean, then you might be sad, oh shit, if I compounded everything, I would be like a lot richer. But when it goes backwards, you're still left with more. And then you could take more out here. Like let's say you take out like 80 or something, right? And then in the end, you're not gonna go below like whatever you put in, whatever. Like this has been how a lot of my peers survived, and I mean how I survived the bear market. I mean, I just sold everything, but like a lot of my peers, the ones that didn't sell at all, they got really, really angry. So I mean, like angry and sad. And I've seen some shit, and a lot of people have done. Like I've seen people fall into depression from the gains and losses they've made. So it makes sense to take at least some of the gains that you're gonna make from these. Like let's say you trade a link and it's has been going up forever, just into something that isn't in the market, because you don't want to be exposed to the market like for everything that you've got. And yeah, it's just my like tiny piece of advice. Don't like how much you take out. I don't like. It's up to you. But some parts I definitely take out and not reinvest. Someone spun 50 BTC to 700 and lost a lot. Yeah, I mean, I've seen like not only one or two, like I've seen people lose millions, and some of them much better traders than, like I at least assumed they were much better traders than I was. And then at some point suddenly they just don't have anything left. And I think that's like one of the biggest advantages that you can have. Just have like a clear head and know, okay, this could end at any time. And everything that I put in the market can be gone at any time. And if I have too much in the market and I couldn't rebuild, if everything that was in the market was like gone, then you're screwed, right? So like just knowing, okay, if this market, like if this entire thing, like everything on this list goes to zero tomorrow, you're going to be fine. If you're fine and that's the case, you're doing it right, I think, because then you can actually trade it with cold-blooded. And if you're so deep invested that you're like, holy shit, if this went to like half of what it is right now, I'd be fucked, then maybe it's time to kind of reconsider. But then again, like I said, when I started out, I went deep in everything, and that has led me to where I am right now. So, I mean, you judge by yourself, depends on what kind of situation you're in. If you have children and a family, it's very different from when you're just, like if you're just a student living your 20s. I mean, in your 20s, you can YOLO all you want. I think that's fine. If you have your family back at home and need to care for someone else, very different story. But yeah, that's just my opinion. A little bit of a rant at the end. Hope that makes sense. Like I said, this could go up forever, but at least take some profits out. And this is the resistance to watch, I think. And if it goes back up here, I mean, we'll see what happens then, right? But I could see it go higher. But as long as it doesn't break this, be careful out there. Okay, that was a long... I feel much better, actually, than before the stream. Like, before the stream, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna puke during the stream. Now it's kind of fine-ish. Might still go puke after the stream, but at least not as bad as the start. But yeah. Before I end, a big shout out to Bybit. They sponsor this show. They make this possible. So big thank you to them. Like I said at the beginning, they have like a competition going with pretty big prices. So you can check that out. Link is in the description. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks Bybit, and thank you guys for coming by. It's always nice to have someone that was actually there in the chat, hangs out, so that I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. So yeah, thank you guys for participating, and thank you for coming by. Like I said, it's gonna be me. It's all me this week. If you have any suggestions what we should do on Friday, leave them in the comments, like not like in the live comments, whatever, but leave them below this video if you can. I'll go through them all and see if I can make it happen. Because like 3 times me doing the same thing over and over and over again might be boring. So do let me know what you want to see, or if you just want to do the same thing, hang out, whatever. It's all up to you guys. So yeah. Thanks for coming by, and see you guys on Wednesday. Bye bye.